What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Finally, Darth Revan is confirmed. And I gotta say, absolutely no one in the community saw this coming. No one. We were completely blindsided by this news. We've had no leaks or inklings of information that Revan could be coming at some point. But here we go. Forum post from CG SB Crumb. When they left after the Mandalorian Wars ended, they were Jedi. When they returned, they were something else. Are you ready to face the Old Republic with Darth Revan? You will need the following characters in an upcoming event: Fallen Bastila, Canderous Ordo, Karth, HK-47, and Juhani. It'll be a very difficult task to reclaim the Sith throne. We'll talk about that more here in a little bit. Once you complete your journey to the dark side, this is more likely going to be a journey event, reworks for HK-47 and Fallen Bastila are on their way and ready to help Revan become an incredibly powerful Sith leader. Stay tuned for the forums for more details. So, we know now we are getting that rework for HK-47. We're surprisingly getting a rework for Fallen Bastila, which is an interesting one because usually when we get to this stuff, you know, the brand new characters, they're usually the ones we get reworks for. But then we also got this newsletter in the game saying, are you ready to claim the Sith throne? And we got some details about what we could possibly see with Revan and his kit in here. We have this confirmation Darth Revan's coming. He's going to have a leader who's going to have some kind of new buff called Ferocity, which sacrifices defense in favor of more offense. And then he's also going to have something that helps, counter the enemy leaders. Something about new debuff called Fear, which is probably going to reduce the effectiveness of the enemy leadership by quite a bit. We'll see when the kit comes out what it'll actually look like. So we know who we're going to need to farm up these characters. But before we go any further into the video today, this video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare.com, if you guys don't know, is a website that hosts more than 27,000 different classes for a lot of different fields out there, whether it be design, illustration, starting and developing your own business, entrepreneurship, photos and film. There's a lot of different classes for you guys to take out there, and there's a lot of things that either help you start to develop your skills in there, get a leg into the field, or help further develop your skills so you can find a job in a field that you're interested in. And since we're usually doing films and videos here, you can go up here and you can see film production here. And there's a lot of classes here that talk about how to take videos with your phones using some of the better video programs out there like Adobe After Effects, Adobe Premiere Pro. There's a lot of different classes out there. So if you guys are interested in checking out Skillshare, there's a link to it down below in the video description. Definitely go check it out. It's special with me and the sponsorship here. So big thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this, and definitely check out the website. They did say this event is going to be very difficult, and this probably means Gear 11 at the least is going to be a minimum requirement. And if you're going to be worrying about Zetas, more than likely the only Zeta you're going to need is going to be the Zeta leadership on Karth. This will probably be akin to the C-3PO Ewok event, where you're going to have the fact that the Zeta on Sherpa makes the event a whole lot easier for you. But if you don't, you're going to struggle a lot. It's going to take a lot of tries, RNG. There is going to be a pretty difficult wall for people who don't have a lot of gear and Zetas invested in this team. So I want to talk to you guys today about prepping your team for this event for Darth Revan, what to expect, and just kind of give you some tips of this overall. So let's just go ahead and dive right into it with these 5 characters. Of course, we're going to go with Karth first. He's going to be your leader for this team because he's the only one who has a leadership here. And of course, his leadership with that Zeta, it calls the Old Republic allies to assist whenever dots are inflicted on an enemy. Your team recovers 3% health and protection. And HK-47, right now he doesn't have an Old Republic tag, but I would bet you dollars to donuts he is going to get an Old Republic tag with this rework. So he's going to fall under this Karth leadership pretty well. And that means that the Karth Zeta is going to make it a whole lot easier for your team to be able to defeat this event, but more than likely, you can still do it without the Zeta. But I think that with that Zeta, it's going to help reduce the gear requirement needed to complete this event, just like we saw with C-3PO and the Ewoks. So the Zeta on Karth and his leadership is really not that bad of a leadership anyways. I've done a video covering before. The Karth-led teams in Grand Arena and Territory Wars, they're very solid teams. So it's definitely a team that you can easily use and get a lot of use out of the Zeta. So that's the pretty good one. Now, Juhani, next, she's kind of, I wouldn't say she's bad. She's solid, she's decent, but she's easily the least powerful of these 5 that you're going to need. Though, of course, it didn't stop me from getting her up to Gear 12. She does have a Zeta on her unique, but I really don't recommend throwing that Zeta on her for this event. But I do recommend, she's going to be your tank for this team, and she's pretty solid there. She can do some counters and with the dots and the basic attacks, she can do bonus damage for debuffed enemies with her basic. So she does have that. She can cleanse your team, she can gain taunt for 4 turns and stuns the enemy, and of course you do have her special where she can recover health and protection, and then if she is stealth, she can stagger the enemy. So you can follow it up with an AoE from someone like HK47 or Bastila if those reworks are going to still have those AoE attacks. So Juhani's going to be your go-to tank for this team, and then Canderous. Canderous and Karth go together so well because Canderous is going to be the mainstay of your dots applying to the enemy team, because anytime that he attacks, he's going to apply a damage over time effect. So he's going to be what fuels the overall leadership zeta on Karth. Canderous, I highly recommend you guys work on him. He's very solid for that Karth team. He's a go-to character for that Karth team. He's great. In terms of his Zeta, you do have that one where he gains crit damage up for 2 turns, the enemy gains taunt or becomes death marked or marked. It's a terrible Zeta. I'm still not sure why they made this a Zeta. I would not go for the Zeta at all. You can completely ignore this one. But you can see he's going to get a lot of synergy with Deathmark, Taunt, and Mark. So that means we will probably going to see something with Mark or Deathmark with either HK or Darth Revan, or even both. And I think that Karth is going to be a decent, solid replacement for a Revan team. We'll see about that. But Canderous, again, another one. And then Fallen Bastila. So, I'm not really sure why she's getting a rework. It seems kind of odd. The thing may be that she's maybe too powerful as it is with the Darth Revan team right now, or, she's just not good enough. But, I mean, that's the thing. Her unique, where she gives the lead of the bonus defense and tenacity, that's already great for those Traya teams, and that's a concern is, are we gonna have to lose the Bastila in those Traya teams? So, we'll see how that goes, but right now, this Zeta, as it stands, unless there's some kind of synergy with Foresight or the Zeta gets reworked, I would not go for this Zeta either. It just doesn't, it's not that good. The Foresight for 1 turn at the start of the battle, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. You're going for the defense and tenacity. If you got the bonus defense and tenacity with this instead, I'd probably argue it's at least a somewhat decent Zeta, but right now it's just that Foresight, not worthy of investing Zetas in. But then you have things like her AoE, Wild Lightning, where she can apply shock to a target and then all shocked enemies then take special damage, can't be counter or evaded. So that's pretty nice. Maybe we're going to see some shock stuff with Revan as well. And then of course Fear, where she stuns and then just applies this whole myriad of debuffs afterwards. Of course they can't be resisted, they can be evaded. So there is some interesting stuff here with Fallen Bastila. I'm really interested to see what her rework is going to do, but we'll see that in time. And then HK47. Right now, there's not a lot going on here, and one other thing to talk about too is you go back and look at these characters, there's not a lot of attackers on this team. You have Karth, which is an attacker, and you have Canderous, who is also an attacker. But right now, with a Revan team, we're going to see more than likely Fallen Bastila and HK47 become 2 mainstays on a Darth Revan team, which then means that we're going to see 2 other characters that we could probably throw on that team. And, we're going to need a tank, because I highly doubt Darth Revan is going to be a tank for the Sith team. So we'll probably see Sith Trooper. If I remember correctly, in the screenshots that were leaked, there was Sith Trooper in the team with him. So Sith Trooper could work. We'll probably see something else, but it's not too crazy to think that maybe we're going to see Malak here soon. I think that with the introduction of Darth Revan, there's a lot of people thinking it was going to be Malak, which makes sense because, it's Malak and he's an awesome character, but I don't know. If we're going to be going away from KOTOR for a while, we might as well get Malak out now. And Malak could be an interesting character. He could be another attacker. He could be a tank. So he could be one of those other slots that you really want to fit into a Darth Revan team. We will see. But for now, with just the Sith and characters that we have right now, Darth Revan, Fallen Bastila, Sith Trooper, HK47, and then take your pick of another Sith. Palpatine, Sith Assassin. I wouldn't really mess up with the trio. I'd keep Traya, Scion, and Nihilus together, but maybe Marauder too could find some use. It would be interesting if Marauder was suddenly a really good character under a Darth Revan lead. We'll see how that all works out. But there is going to be quite a bit of flexibility with Sith. And if you go and look at the Old Republic, there's not really a whole lot there that you could use in a Darth Revan team. Mostly everyone here is light side characters. You just have Canderous and I believe Fallen Bastila. Those are your only 2 dark side characters, and so they're gonna fit. Canderous not really gonna fit into a Revan team. You're gonna use Canderous with that Karth team. So Fallen Bastila is pretty much the only Old Republic character that you'll more than likely use in that Darth Revan team outside of HK-47. You do have these $40 packs where you get Fallen Bastila and Juhani in one, and then Karth and Canderous in another one. Now, there has been some controversy with this because originally Bastila and Canderous were the first two farmable characters, and the ones that just became free to play a little while ago were Juhani and Karth, and they're split up between two packs. I know there's a lot of people who aren't too happy with that. And then you have this HK-47 bundle where you get him for shards, and then the event pack where you can buy a pack for 700 crystals, they give you shards from 10 to 330 of any of the 5 characters. But the interesting thing here is that HK-47's in here, and this one feels kind of odd because, you know, HK-47's been out for so long and he's been so farmable. So we do have that, and I think people were hoping it would just be the 4 characters that we already have that we're farming for Revan instead of adding the HK-47 as well. So there is some controversy here with the packs and the overall pricing and how they're split up, and I get that. There is going to be some controversy there, but I think that with how long these characters have been farmable, that we need to make this one a little bit more difficult because, you know, if it's gonna be a legendary event where it's just like gear 7 or 8's all you need to, or a journey event where all you need is gear 7 or 8 to complete it, everybody's going to have Darth Revan, and then we're just going to run into a whole deja vu again, where right now everybody has Jedi Revan, then everyone's going to have Darth Revan, and it's going to be a very, very boring meta. So the fact that they were able to offset the overall long farming window for these characters and give us like a gear wall and a really tough difficulty requirement, I like that. That means that it's going to be a little more difficult. It's not going to be a free-for-all where everybody can get Darth Revan the first time around. So this, in my opinion, is pretty good, and I like it. So, you know, that's just an overall view of these characters, and, you know, just kind of getting yourself ready for it. What do you guys think about this event? Are you guys excited for Darth Revan? Are you guys ready for Darth Revan to be here? What do you think his kit's going to have? We've seen some hints with that newsletter. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. So that's going to be it for this video today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy it, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I'm sure we'll be doing lots of videos with kit reveals for the HK and Fallen Bastila reworks over the next couple of days. But as always, guys, I will talk to you all later.